Hello everyone, today we're learning Daf Nun Hey. So, there is two parashas in the Torah of Aseres HaDibros. One is in Yisroi, and one is in Beis Chanan. So, Shal Rab Chanina bar Ogilis Rab Chia bar Abba Yas Zim Shayla. We play now, why is it that Dibros Shoynes in Parashas Yisroi lo ne'emar b'em toiv, it doesn't say the word toiv. Dibros Shoynes in Beis Chanan ne'emar b'em toiv. Toiv is said over there, and Rashi said that it says, Leman yitavloch if you do kivud avein. Omar lo, he told him, until you ask me, why did it say toiv or not? I don't know. I actually don't know if it says toiv or not. I think it's a toiv in Barbrasa that explained that they didn't have such a pekias in the Torah, and it wasn't just like by us, you just take out the shelf or the Sefer Torah, so I don't know. It's a bit shver. So he told him, Klachetz Rab Tanchoin, go to Rab Tanchoin Barchinoloi. Shaya Rogil, he used to go to, it's a Rab Shur ben Levi. And Rab Shur ben Levi was, Shaya Boki Bagoda, he knows that God very well, he could tell you the answer to this question. He went to Rab Tanchoin, Omaleni Menoloi Shamati. He said, yes, I used to go to Rab Shur ben Levi, but I never heard a pshat from him about this. Elokach Omar Lishmo bar Nochum, Achi Imoy, Shel Rav Acha bar Rab Chanina. So told me Shmur ben Achum, the uncle, Achi Imoy, the brother of his mother, of Rav Acha bar Rab Chanina. But Amrullah, some people say Avi Imoy, with the grandfather, Rav Achi bar Rab Chanina, or uncle or grandfather. Oil v'soifon ishtaber, because Luchos Rishonis were going to be broken afterwards, so we don't want to say toiv in them. Says the Gemara, v'chisoifon ishtaber my have. So what that they're going to break? Why can't you say toiv? If it would say in Luchos Rishonis toiv and would break it, as if the toiv would go away. We don't want that toiv to go away. So the first time Hashem gave the Torah, they didn't write toiv because he knew it's going to go to break. Omar Rabbi Yeshua, Aroye tes b'chaloimoy. Someone who sees the letter tes in his dream, Simon Yofalo, it's a good sign. My timer. Why is it so? Ileima mishum dichsiv toiv, because it says toiv, the letter tes is toiv, so it means you'll see good. Ema, look at this pasuk. It's a bad pasuk. I'll like sweep you with bad and destroy. And it says tes, so you can see tes is not always so toiv. Says the Gemara, no. Chates, Karmin, we're talking like so one tes. Here it says a few tesim, so it's different. So the Gemara asks, Ema, I have another pasuk, Tumoso b'shuleo. It says in Eichel that's a bad pasuk about, I think, Yerushalayim, that Tumoso, and it's only one tes, and you can see it's bad. It says, the Gemara, tes bes, Karmin. I'm talking about, if you see in the dream tes together with base, and it's toiv. And Tumoseo b'shuleo doesn't say in the word Tumoseo the letter base. Ema, I have another pasuk from Eichel, Tovu ba'aretz shoreo, the gates will sink into the ground. So, and it says tes base, and it's bad. Elo oil uposach boyakosu letoiva betchila. That the first time tes is mentioned ever in the Torah, it's mentioned as a good thing. Shemi Bereshis, from the beginning, from the base of Bereshis, ad vayora Elokim Yisrael, until Hashem saw the light. Kitoiv, and it says, and it was good. Lo iksiv tes, doesn't say the letter tes, and since it's the first time in the Torah where the letter tes is used as toivs, the letter tes, even without the base at this stage of the Gemara, is a good siman, and that's always a good way of understanding the fundamental part of a letter, is to see where it was mentioned the first time in the Torah. V'amar Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, said Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, Aro a hesped, someone sees a hesped b'chaloima in his dream, chosu lo ben hashamayim, they had rachmanos in him, upodu, and they redeemed him. V'animili, and that's talking about b'ktova, that he saw it written down, the word hesped. And hesped, the letter hey, could be a ches, and it's chos pad, it's chosu and poduhu. We learned in the Mishnah that an animal and a bird has the same din for Shabbos, for Kilayim, for many things, not only Sherver Chamor, also an animal or birds. Omar Rabbi Yeshua, Omar Ish Lakish, Kan Shon Rebbe, from this Mishnah we learn Tarnagoil, a chicken, Tavos, a peacock, Upisyuni, it's another type of bird, a slov, like slova dogging from the song of Shabbos. Kilayim zebezeh, if you're not allowed to mate them together. It's kilayim. Says the Gemara Pshita, what's a chiddush? Yeah, we said oifus, what's a chiddush? Amar Rav Chaviva, Mishum derobu ba'ad adodi, because they take each other care of the other type of birds. Let's say a peacock could take care of the chicken's eggs or babies, or the opposite. So you'd think, now the time out think minchadu, it's one type of bird. Kumash Malan, no, they're different types of birds, and you're not allowed to breed them together. Amar Shmuel, avoz geese, ve'avoz abar, and the wild geese, kilayim, they're two different types of birds. Matki Florova Barav Chano, on my timer, what the reason? He asked a question, Rab Shmuel, Ilenu Shum da hai orich kuye, he had a long neck. Vai zuta kuye, and he has a short neck, Elo meato, so if that's a difference and makes it two types, if it has a different type of neck, Gamlo Parsa, a camel that comes from Persia. Gamlo Taya, and the Arab camel, the Ayolim Kure, that has a thick neck. By cotton kuye has a thin neck. And we know there's no kilayim. They're allowed to make these two types of camels. Eloma Abaye, he says Abaye, you know why they are considered a different type? So I'll tell you, by the male, the beitzom mibachut, the beitzom mibifnim. One has its beitzim in the outside, and one side has them in the body. Rav Papa says another reason that there's a difference, and this is by the female, is hotuhuna chadebeta. One could only have one egg at a time in every load, beshichla in a load. The chatuhuna kama beita beshichla, and the other one could have a few eggs on one load. So you could see even in the female there's a difference in the type of bird that they are. Omar Virimia, Omar Ishlokish, Omar Beashni, meaning Shebayom, someone who takes a sea lion and a different type and a dolphin, and he gets them to mate. He's loika, it's kilayim. My timer, what's the reason? Omar Adaba Abba, Mishmedola, Asya Lemineu, we learned, it says Lemineu by the posuk about, the first posuk is about the fish, Tanini Magdoilim, Shashotza Maim Leminehem. And then it says also, the end of the posuk was Konof Lemineu. Miyabosha. So like there's specifically the Torah wants you not to mix between a donkey and a cow and make them have babies. So also with the fish, Lemineu, also each one is a different type and you're not allowed to breed them. Boy Rachba, asked Rachba Shaila, Manik Beiza Veshibuta, someone who leads his carriage, ties it to one side to a goat, on the other side to a fish, on the side of the river, and together they carry the agola or whatever it is. Now, Miamrinan Kaven Diesel Nochis Bayam, because the goat never goes into the water, Veshibuta, and the fish Loy Solikai Bosha can't come out the water, Loy Klum of it, it's not called Kilai. Oidilma, or maybe Ashtomias Komanik. At the end of the day, you're using two types and you're manning with two different types. It's Kilai. Matki Floravino, Ravina asked Kashal Nishaila, what's your Shaila? Elomato, if that's a Shaila, maybe let's say Chiber Chita Vesorobiyodo is someone who took a seed of wheat and a seed of barley, and you're not allowed to plow them together in Eretz Yisrael. The Zorach Chito Beretz. For sure not, you're allowed to do that. So also here, it's two different types. Amri said the yeshiva, no, this is how you should put it. It's the wrong way to compare these two. Hasom over there, Eretz Mokom Chiyuva, Eretz Yisrael is Mokom Chiyuva, so it's okay to have only Chita there, and Chutz Eretz Lo Mokom Chiyuva, so it's okay that there's Torah and cross very close to it in Chutz La'aretz, because they allowed kilayim. Hocha idi ve'idi chiyuva. Over here, two fish you're not allowed to take together. Two goats, types of animals you're not allowed to take together to be manning. So if you mix, so the chorah should be asa. Hadron aloch shorish nogach sapor. We'll come back to you. Perek shorish nogach sapor. Now we're starting a new Perek Akoines, definitely Hey on the base. Akoines Tzoin Ledir. Someone who put a flock into the pen. The Nod Befonei Koroi, and he locked the gate properly. We're going to see in the Gemara what does properly mean. V'yotze ve'ziko, and he went out and it was mazik. Potter, because he locked it, it's not his fault. Lo Nod Befonei Koroi, didn't lock properly. V'yotze ve'ziko, and went out and caused damage. Chayav, you have to pay. Nifritza balayla, what happened if he didn't open the gate suddenly for some reason? He got broken into at night. Listing all that robbers broke through and broke down the fence. V'yotzav Ezika, and he ran away and it was caused damage. Potter, you'll also be Potter. And this case, because it's Nifritzon, it's much more, people will talk about it. Only Balayla you Potter because you're not expected to chase it at night. But in the day you'll be Chai. When the Reisha Lechero, it's Akoines, and you go open from some other way, not by Pritza, then even in the day you'll be Potter because you don't know about it. Listing, what happened if the robbers took out this animal and now it caused damage to someone else? Listim chayavim, the listim have to pay. Inicho bachama, he put it in the sun, the animal, and then it's too hot for him. He gave it to God, to Cherish, a deaf person, shoite v'cotton, v'yotza v'ziko, and it caused damage, chayav, because the heat made it go crazy and it made get loose and ran away and caused damage. And the same with Chereshet v'Kotten, that's not good shmira. Masr l'roy, he gave it to a shepherd, nichnas aroya tachtov, and the shepherd is chayav instead of the owner. Noflo legina, what happened if this sheep fell into a garden, v'nenes, and it had a no l'cher, maybe 8, or maybe, we'll see in the Gemara l'cher what it's talking about, that maybe God didn't get hurt from falling in a nice bed of cabbage. Meshalemes mashalenes, you pay how much had a no, not how much it damaged. If you walk down normal way, didn't fall into the field and it caused damage, that's a normal case of shel. Meshalemes masheziko, you pay masheziko. Keitzad meshalemes masheziko. How does Shen pay masheziko? Shomim beiso, you estimate, so let's say 8 a square meter. So you estimate how much is a beiso, it's a type of amount of land. In this field, kama oisi yofa, how much was worth before the animal ate, v'kama yofa, and how much this part of land is worth after a square meter was eaten. But you don't look at it by itself, at this, how much ate 10 cabbages, you have to pay 10 cabbages. You look at it in a bigger scale, that comes out cheaper for the mazik. Reb Shimon Oimeno, he doesn't agree. Ochla players gumurim, if he ate peris gmurim, fully raped peris, then mishalemes peris gmurim, you pay full peris, how much it has value. By itself, you don't estimate it keneged a beiso. Im so, if he ate a saw, you pay a saw. Im so, and you don't measure it in a bigger measurement. And when does the Torah tell you this chiddush that you measure it that in a bigger space? That's when it was peris that were not fully raped. That's what Rashi explains. Tanu Rabbanon says Rabbanon learned Eizu Koroi, what means locking it properly? Ve'eizu Shaloi Koroi, what means locking it not properly? Dele sheyochol lamoid b'ruach metzuya, if you locked it with a gate, a fence that could stand an average wind, though Koroi, that's considered proper closing it. If it can't stand average wind, though shaloi karoi, that's not considered karoi. Probably mitzuya is more a common wind. So that's called shaloi karoi. So we're talking about not very strong shmira, enough that it's good enough for a common wind. But there is another type of shmira, and that's a proper strong shmira of a metal fence that's locked properly, and that even a ruach she'eini mitzuya, uncommon wind, won't break it. But we are saying that the Mishnah says that you're potter enough doing it for common winds. Omar Ramani bar Patish, says Ramani the son of Patish, Man Tana, who is our Mishnah? Muad, that the Mishnah is talking about Muad because it's talking about Shen V'Regel, and Shen V'Regel is Muad from the first time. The sagila geshmur pchusan, it's good enough to do for common wind, but you don't need to do it for uncommon wind. Rabbi Yehuda, it's Rabbi Yehuda that Nan, we learned in the Mishnah, kosher bala b'mesera, the owner tied the animal with a leash, and he locked in front of him koroi properly, v'yotza v'hizik, and he went out and damaged, and that's the same type of shmur like here, ruach mitzuya. Echod tam ve'echod mod chayev. We say it doesn't matter if he gored and it was a tam, doesn't matter if he was a mod, it's chayev d'rameh. That's how shittas rameh he holds. You need to guard it stronger than ruach mitzuya. Rabbi Yehuda, no, tam chayev, tam you'll be chayev in such a case. Mod potter. More, the very big chiddush, less of a shmira is good enough, even though that commonly wouldn't make anything. You'd think more needs a better shmira. Shneimar, because we learn it from a special chiddush in the pasuk. It says v'lo yishmerenu balav. It says an extra on the bailing won't guard it. Why do you need to add it? V'shomer there, and that means, and here it's enough. He's already guarded for ruach mitzuya, so he'll be potter for keren. Rabbi Lezer disagrees. So we have until here Machloikes Rameh holds tam you need and mod, you need a very good shmira, and it's not enough ruach mitzuya. And Rabbi Yehuda says no, mod shmira of ruach mitzuya is good enough, and tam you need the shmira me'ula. Rabbi Lezer argues about mod. They both hold mod the shmira me'ula is good enough. Rabbi Lezer ain't shmira. There's no guarding by mod. Elo sacking to kill the animal because it's a dangerous animal. You need to kill it. So l'chora, for sure, our Mishnah that says that Shen v'regel, that's mod mitchilosoi, shmir pchusa is good enough, it must be going if you're Rabbi Yehuda, because Rabbi Meir holds that mod is also you need shmir mola. Says the Gemara, afilu teimer ameh. So really our Mishnah could be Rameh. Shiny Shen v'regel is different when Keren, that Torah miyato b'shmirasom. The Torah says a special chiddush that you don't need to do a shmir mola to be potter if it caused damage. Some people say it says it in a brisa. Arba very important thing that Torah miyoto b'shmuros on the Torah of mechadesh. You don't need to do a shmir me'ula. The Elohen and these are they who are they are. Where whole the eish fire shen when an animal eats the regel and it walks kedarkoi. Bor dichsiv, how do we know bor? It says ki iftach ish bor, someone who opened and covered the bor. Or ki ichra he dug ish bor, a person a bor. V'lo ichasena, and he didn't cover it. Then you'll be chayav hokitzo if he covered it potter. And you don't say you need to cover it, fill it up. You dug a hole. Why is it good enough to cover it? You should have to fill it up again. No, the Torah is mechad that a shmir of covering is good enough. So that's bor. Eish. Fire, dichsiv, shalem yishalem amaberes abeira. He should pay the one who caused the fire. And the loshan amaberes abeira is at the ovid, and he's only chayav kein maber if he does like maber that sounds like purposely. Maber is like he caused the fire, but if he was only for pshir yechayav, less than pshir, ruach common wind. If it was good enough that the fire won't happen, it's in a common wind. L'chora you'll be potter. Shen, how do we know that Shen, the Torah said that you need a shmira pchusa is good enough? It says about Shen where it says in the Torah, and he was mevarat b'steacher at the Ovid until he did keinu bir, and bir is mashma that he fed him, he took him to be mevarat. Regel, how do we know regel? D'chsiv shilach, and he sent him at the Ovid kein v'shilach until he did that he sent the animal until they did pshia, but less than pshia ruach mitzuya. Your potter. Netanya, and it says in the brisa v'shilach the regel. It says v'shilach means regel. V'chein roima, and how do we know that shilach is regel? It says meshach regel asher v'achamor, and ubir the Hashem. And how do we know that bir is shen? V'chein roima b'kasher v'agol atumoy. So Tama, the whole when yichayev the Ovid came v'shilach ubir when he did it like b'pshir. Holoi Ovid, if he did a shmir pchusa baruch mitzuya, loi, he'll be potter. It's a special chiddush Torah, and even Rameh is masking about it by Shen v'regel. Not like in Keren, there is no masking to this chiddush. Omar Rabba, says Rabba Masnisi Nami Deika, I have a raya from the Mishnah that the Mishnah is not talking about Keren, it's especially Shen v'regel. Diktoni tzoin, it says the Mishnah, someone put in tzoin in Hebrew, in Lashon HaKodesh, it means goats and sheep, doesn't mean cows. Mechti, Let's see, B'shorka skin and Vasi. Until now, the other prokim, we're always talking about the ox. Listen, sure, why did we suddenly change over here and we talk about goats and sheep? Why did it change? Lab Mishum is into Tzo because that term because it's different, because a sheep and a goat doesn't normally go. Normally what they do is Shen V'regel, and that's why it's a special Chiddush in Shen V'regel. Lab Mishum, the kind Karen, Loik Sivabay, Karen is not common, doesn't say Karen, it says Karen by Shor. Shen V'regel Udechsivbay, beer, V'shilach could be Tzoy. Komash Malon, and it's coming to tell you the Mishnah that it says Tzoin and not sure is the Shen V'regel, the Muatim, that they're Muad because it's Shen V'regel and Shema Mino, and that's why Shmira Pchusa is good enough. But for Karen, Rabbi Meir will hold you need a Shmira Mu'ula, and Rabbi Lazar will hold you need to kill the animal. Tanya, we learned in the Braisa, Omar Rabbi Yeshua said, Arba Dvarim Oisoisam Potter Medina Adam. 4 things, if someone does it, he's Potter, best in common Mechayev. But from heaven they will have a taina, and what the case is, someone who breaks down the fence and now the behema could run away and he loses the behema. There's a fire and he wasn't coming to the field, but he bends what's growing towards the fire. Now the fire comes and it gets burnt. Someone who rents untruthful liars, Aiden, la'aid, to testify. And someone who knows Eidus to his friend, and he doesn't go to Bezdin to be made for him. He says, I don't know, but really he knows that Reuben owes him money, and because he doesn't go to Bezdin, he calls him to lose. So Medina Odom, he's Potter, Medina Shemaim, he's Chayev.